A year ago, the country was, I think, a bit stunned, particularly when television pictures came out, showing the extent of the damage on the East Coast and the Hawke's Bay from Cyclone Gabriel, and particularly, I think, Esk Valley. But I can remember sitting down, was it Saturday or Sunday night, watching pictures showing the hinterland around Napier, the power station or the sewage station there, and TVNZ had put up a helicopter, and the devastation was remarkable. I can't remember having seen stuff like that since Cyclone Bowler. But, you know, we all get involved in, and I guess emotionally involved in disasters like that, and it doesn't take too long often for us to just move on. It is a year, really, since this thing was at its peak, and I thought it would be a good time to go back and talk to at least one of the people involved in it. Kirsten Wise was Napier City Mayor. She still is, and she joins us on the line now. Kirsten, thanks very much for joining us. Well, it's better than it was last year, huh?
Oh, it certainly is. And, you know, we're making really good progress with our recovery and investing in the infrastructure and you know, rebuilding the region. But there's certainly a very long way to go as well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're not in a place and you're not directly affected, you watch it on the news, you feel sad, you might flick some money to a donation. But your life goes back to normal. Has life gone back to normal for Napier and environs or not?
There's certainly parts of our community who were predominantly impacted in the immediate aftermath of the cyclone that I think have moved forward. And, you know, for us, that's what we need to be really conscious of, actually meeting the needs of all parts of our community, because they are all on very different parts of their journey. Absolutely, those people out in the Esk Valley and Puketapu and all those areas that were completely devastated, they are still well and truly in the middle of rebuilding their lives, and we need to be sensitive to that and supporting them in every way that we can.
All right. I know a lot of that was bridges washed out and links to get the necessities of life in were pretty difficult. Have all the roads and bridges been restored, Kirsten, or at least are operable to a workable level?
The majority of them are operable to, as you say, a workable level. There's temporary bridges being put in place. We do still have some bridges which are completely inaccessible, simply because of the sheer quantity of bridges and roading links that needed to be repaired as quickly as possible. But all the main arterial links are certainly now available for use, which has made a huge difference.
All right. What about basic infrastructure for the region, sewage, power, water? Is that back to an operable level?
It is, yes, definitely. And we are still aware, obviously, in particular with our water infrastructure, that further investment is required to build resilience for any future events that we may have. But they're certainly doing what they need to do now. We were very fortunate here in Napier that our water infrastructure actually did exactly what it needed to do during the event itself. But, you know, we as with anything, you're always trying to improve and ensure that you're building the best resilience possible into your network.
I think the government dropped an extra $63 million yesterday, day before, on this. And, you know, $63 million, to be honest, in the scheme of things, maybe isn't a lot of money. Do people, those most affected, do you think, feel that they have been treated fairly, or are people still struggling to get compensation or move on, figure out whether they qualify for compensation or for buyout? I read a story, I think just a couple of days ago, some people with red stickered homes are being told they'll have to pay for the cost of moving or they don't get compensation. Generally, are people happy that they've been taken care of?
Again, I think there's quite a wide range of people who are having very different experiences with the various agencies and organisations they're needing to engage with for their rebuild and recovery. So, you know, this is a multi-pronged approach. It's local councils, it's insurance, it's EQC. It's a difficult path to navigate for people, and we've as councils, employed community connectors to try and help those that are in the middle of this as much as we possibly can. So some people we have, through our voluntary buyout process, actually settled with some people where all the ducks have been in a row, but there's others that are still knee deep in it. And, we're really conscious of that and trying to keep it moving forward as quickly as we can.
What is the spirit of your community like?
I think here now, 1 year on, people are definitely reflecting. I think there's definitely some anxiety, as you would expect. We have had over the last month or so a few days of quite heavy rain, and of course that's very triggering.
Yep.
We're very conscious of that. We've got our civic events tomorrow, with tomorrow being the actual anniversary day, and we're really trying to include the whole community in that, and give them an opportunity to come along and sort of reflect and remember and just come together as a community and support each other.
Kirsten, what have you got on? What are you doing to sort of mark this significant event?
So we have got a civic ceremony up on our marine parade at our sound shell, and we've tried to keep it pretty simple. We don't want to overcomplicate it. So it's a community-wide opportunity to come together. We will obviously remember those lives that have been lost, and grieve for those families and everybody else that was impacted in losing property, losing livelihoods.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to create a space for our whole community to come together and support each other.
Mm. As much as it was a disaster, and it qualifies to be a disaster, well, there's some good out of it. What are you proud about, looking back, about how your community reacted in the weeks and months following that?
Oh, look, there really was so many incredible things that happened throughout the first few days and then in the ongoing months afterwards, right to this day. And the stories of people that have just stepped up and volunteered their own time and made sacrifices and supported those in need, strangers helping strangers, neighbours helping neighbours, and, all these incredibly heroic people that just gave everything above and beyond what you could ever expect. And even to this day, a year on, I'm still hearing stories of what people have done. So it really warms the heart, and it just demonstrates how a community pulls together when they need to. And
as much as disasters destroy things, they also create communities and spirits and relationships for those who live through it together.